So we're doing the next problem. Now, if we did want the other three functions, they're going to match these signs, so the cosecant would be positive, the secant would be negative, and the cotangent would be negative. But they didn't ask us for that, so we won't fill all that in. I'm talking about this next problem, pi to 3 pi over 2. Where's that? Where am I talking about? This is 180 and this is 270. Now, those of you that are curious about this, remember, pi is 180. If you divide it by 2, you get 90. And 90 times 3 is 270. So where are we talking about? Remember, this is your setup. Unless you are talking about an airplane flying on a course or a ship sailing on a course, unless you're talking about directions, navigation, this is going to be your setup. So 180 to 270 would put me into quadrant 3. Agreed? Now tell me about this side, positive or negative? Negative. What about this side? Negative. What about this side? Positive, always positive. So we're trying to figure out the sine, cosine, and tangent if they're positive or negative. So sine opposite over a hypotenuse, so it would be what? Negative. Max, are you following this? Yeah. We're putting a negative over a positive. Now what about cosine? Still negative. What about tangent? Positive, because you're putting a negative over a negative. Now the next section is exactly the same thing, except they actually give you a number now. Okay? So we want to know the sign that is positive or negative of the sine of 152. So what you need to do is think about, where is 152 degrees? Where would it be? Well, again, use this as your framework. So I think it's in quadrant 2, isn't it? Isn't that angle between 90 and 180? Okay. So what do I know about the sides of the triangle? You don't know any numbers. This isn't a 30, 60, 90. But tell me about plus and minus. This would be minus. This would be plus. And that, of course, is plus. Now, this time, we don't want all three. We only want to know about the sine. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So it's going to be a positive number. Now, if we wanted to know exactly what the number was, we type it in on our calculator. But we don't want to know that. We just want to know if it's positive or negative. Now, this next one, you can do a couple of different ways. We want to know about the cosine of 8 pi over 9. Now, if you want to, could we change that to a degree measure? Yeah. We know pi is 180. 180 divided by 9 is 20. And 20 times 8 is 160. So if you want to change that to degrees, you can. And then where is it? Second quadrant again, right? I'm going to go ahead and finish it, and I'm going to show you the other way to do it. So we have a negative, a positive, and a positive. Is that confusing to anybody? Are you good with that? This time we want cosines. Cosine is negative over positive, adjacent over hypotenuse. So the answer is, it's a negative number. Now you don't actually have to change that to degrees if you don't want to, because you know how I labeled these with degree measures? I could actually label them with radian measures if I wanted to. This is still 0. What's 180? Pi. 90 is half a pi. And 270 is 1.5 pi, so 3 pi over 2. So if you wanted to leave them as a radian measure, you could set up your framework like this, and then look at this. Isn't that 8/9 of pi? Which means it's more than a half, but less than a whole. So it's in quadrant 2, which we did in degrees and got it in quadrant 2. So you can figure out your radian ones using this framework without changing to degrees. Or you can change to degrees, whatever's easiest for you. All right, let's look at C. Tangent 300. All right, where's 300? Fourth quadrant. This is 180, this is 270, this is 360. So 300's over here. There's my butterfly bow tie triangle. What do I know about the sides? This one is positive, negative, positive. And I want tangent. So the tangent, here's the angle, is opposite over adjacent. Negative. So that's going to be negative. Everybody still with me? Oh, shoot. Oh, yeah, tons of time. Good, okay. All right, let's look at the next one. It's another radian. So we want the cosecant of 15 pi over 8. Now, let's do this framework first, and then we'll do that one, so we get practice both ways. But let's try to do it in radians. All the way around is 2 pi. Okay, so this is 15/8 pi. Exactly, because this is 1 7/8 pi. Would you agree with that? 1 7/8? And isn't 1 7/8 almost 2 wholes? Almost 2. So it would be all the way around here in quadrant 4. Use your logic. You guys are smart. You can do this. This is 1 7/8. That's almost 2. 2 is all the way around. So we're not quite all the way around. So this is positive, negative, and positive. We want the cosecant. Oh gosh, what's the cosecant? Reciprocal sine. So the sign will be the same. Yeah, the SIGN will be the same. Yep. So negative over positive or positive over negative. Either way, you're going to get a negative. All right, somebody with a calculator, would you take 15 times 180 and divide by 8? I think it's 337.5.
Yeah.
Okay. Where is, go back to your degree thing, where is 337 degrees? Right here? Quadrant 4? Same thing, same thing. So if you just change it to degrees, you're going to get the same answer. If you leave it as radians, it's a little quicker, you get the same answer. Uh-oh, uh-oh, look at E. What's happening there? I have a negative. Oh, I should have left this picture. I have a negative. Anybody have any ideas how I'm going to handle a negative angle? Go backwards, that's exactly right. So, instead of using these positive labels, I'm going to go this way. So this won't be 270, it will be negative 90. Going this way. And this will be negative 180. and negative 270 and negative 360. I go this way for a negative angle. Down. It's easy to remember. Up is positive, down is negative. Now it's negative 200, so I gotta come negative 200 would be up here. So we are negative, positive, positive. I want the cosine. So cosine is negative over positive. Did you get negative as your answer? Let's look at the next one. The sine of 1/11th pi. Is it okay if I write it that way? That's the same thing? Now, is 1/11th, look down here, is 1/11th more than a half or less than a half? Less than a half. So wouldn't it be in quadrant 1? And in quadrant 1, I don't even really need to draw my picture. In quadrant 1, everything is positive. There aren't any negatives in quadrant 1. Cotan 500, oh good grief. What's different about this one? It's bigger than 360. So I need to go, if I'm not drawing a picture of this, I would have to go all the way around and then some. How much more would I go? If I went all the way around, how much more would I have to go? How many degrees? 140. How did he get 140?
360 minus 7.
Exactly. I know that all the way around is 360, and you should know that too. All the way around is 360. So this is bigger than all the way around. How much bigger? Just do 500 minus 360. And we get 140. So where is 140? What quadrant is 140 in? Second? We want cotangent, so I got negative. What about you? One more. Secant negative pi over 7.
Do the pi thing is the negative 2?
Yeah, same thing. So I'm thinking of that as negative 1/7 pi. Now I know the negative tells me I'm going backwards. This would be negative a half, right? Now, is 1/7 more than a half or less than a half?
Less than that.
Less than a half. So I don't even get this far, right? So I must be down here. So positive, negative, positive. I want the secant, which is the same sinus again as the cosine. So positive over positive. You good? All right, we're gonna do one more problem, I promise. One more and then we'll be done. So we're doing 5A. This is a biggie, 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 biggie.
Positive.
All right, so here we go. We're gonna find the sine of 150 degrees. And I've drawn a lovely circle for you, which you can draw, but you don't have to draw. That's up to you, but there it is, that lovely circle. Now, where is 150 degrees? Second quadrant. Remember, this is 90 and this is 180, so 150 would be in here, right? Now I'm going to make my butterfly bow tie triangle. And here comes the really exciting part. See this angle right here? How big is he?
30 degrees.
He's 30 degrees. Because isn't he the difference between 150 and 180? Now, wait a minute, if he's 30, that's 60, I've got a special triangle there, don't I?
30, 60, 90.
Across from the 30 is 1. Across from the 60 is root 3. And the hypotenuse is 2. Because I'm sitting in quadrant 2, though, I'm going to make that negative root 3. Right? Think about what we were just talking about. Wouldn't that be a negative number? Now I want the sign. 1/2. Opposite over hypotenuse. Boys and girls, you just found the sine of 150 without a calculator. Isn't that amazing? Oh, I can tell you're awestruck. All right, I shall see you tomorrow, and we will pick up here. Have a wonderful day.
I was completely